what to do when your baby is sick. Yeah. So, can mommy breastfeed if she's sick? And the answer is actually definitely yes. Yeah, breastfeeding when mommy is sick actually leads to a healthier baby. That's true. All right. So when mommy is sick, yeah, mommy actually produces antibodies to protect mommy. Antibodies are the little soldiers in the body that fights the sickness, that fights the germs, that fights the bacteria and the viruses. So mommy actually produces these antibodies to help mommy. But these antibodies actually enters into breast milk, and then it goes into baby. And if baby do get sick, these antibodies will actually fight. The little soldiers will fight any germs that has entered the baby. And that is why you always hear that breastfed babies are healthier. The reason why breastfed babies are healthier is because mommy's antibodies protects babies. Amazing, isn't it? Yeah. So the next question, can mommy take medicine when she's sick? The answer is definitely yes. Most medicine that the doctor gives you, that if you go to a GP, the doctor gives you is usually safe and compatible with breastfeeding. There are very, very few medication that is not compatible, that's contraindicated in breastfeeding. And in order for you to check and for you to feel better, or for you to have a peace of heart, peace of mind, go to www.elatencia.org. All right. And when you check it out, you can actually type in the name of your medicine in, and it will actually tell you immediately whether it's compatible with breastfeeding or not. Now, there's also other sites like LacMed, and other sites, but I like elatencia.org because it's easy to use, all right, and the explanation is really, really simple. So do go ahead and look at it, all right. Now, something that a lot of you may have missed out, all right, is that direct latching is actually very important. I know that a lot of people actually they deliver their baby, and then because of one reason or another, the baby couldn't direct latch. A lot of time it's because they say baby got jaundice, and when baby got jaundice, they are treated. The baby is treated in the hospital, and mommy goes home. And while baby is in the hospital, the baby is usually given a bottle. And when baby is given a bottle in the early days, way too early, before day 21, the baby will end up rejecting the breast, and then mommy ends up being exclusive pumper. So she doesn't get the benefit of the direct latching. But direct latching is actually very important. Yeah. Another reason why a lot of mothers give up direct latching is because when you go to the confinement center has no idea how to help, and the mommy experience some problems, and the baby ends up crying, and then they feel that they have to give baby extra milk, and then they didn't know how to help the mother to give the extra milk other than to use a bottle. And again, when bottle is used way too early, baby usually become very nipple confused. Baby prefers using the bottle than to direct latch onto mommy, all right? But you see, baby's saliva, when she's direct latching, when baby is direct latching onto the nipple, right, it actually sends messages. There's actually what we call a backflow while baby is direct latching. It means that saliva from the baby's mouth actually goes into the breast via the nipple, and it goes and it travels up into mommy's brain. There's a lot of signals, a lot of information, microscopic information goes into mommy's brains, all right? And mommy will process. Mommy's brain is like a big supercomputer. It will process all this information and determine if the baby is sick, will determine what kind of sickness, determine what kind of virus or bacteria. And the mother's brain, it will instruct the breast to produce what we call medicated milk to meet baby's unique needs. All right. So I have an example to share with you. A friend of mine, she called me up in the morning one day, and she says that, hey, this morning I went to work and I pumped my breast as usual. The milk comes out yellow. Why? Is there something wrong with my milk? And I asked her, is your milk usually yellow? She said, no, it's usually white and then it becomes yellow. So I said, is your baby sick? And she was like, no, I don't think so. And we put down the phone. I said, it's usually not a problem. Don't worry, as long as the milk comes from your breast, it's fine. So we put down the phone, and then half an hour later, she called me and said, guess what? Yeah, baby is sick. The babysitter just called. You see, what mommy usually do is she will send the baby to the babysitter, then she will pump at work, and then she'll go home. She'll bring the baby home, and she will direct latch the baby. And then whenever she's with the baby, she will direct latch the baby. Whenever she's not with the baby, she will pump her breast milk. All right. So what happened was, that night when she was breastfeeding her baby, her mind, that means her memory, her knowledge, does not even know that the baby is sick. But her breast and her brain already identify that the baby is sick, so that the next day when she sent her baby to the babysitter, not knowing that the baby was sick, but the breast and the brain already knows it. When she pump, her milk changes color. The milk changes in properties, changes in its abilities. It becomes what we call medicated milk. Amazing, isn't it? And then when baby got better, her milk changed back to its regular white color. Now, this is only possible. This is only possible if you are direct latching. Unfortunately, a lot of people are not aware of it. It's only possible if mommy is direct latching, and even bottle feeding, even with breast milk, do not have this benefit, because it needs baby saliva on mommy's nipple, goes into the breast, travel into the brain. Therefore, mommy and daddies, I need to implore you. So even if you have to pump because you're working, you have to pump and give a bottle, which a lot of working moms have to do. Please do not give up direct latching your baby, because it's a very, very important aspect of helping your baby, especially when your baby is sick. So a few questions and answer. When should a mother avoid breastfeeding? Are there times that a mother should not breastfeed, should not give even express breast milk to the baby, shouldn't even pump and give express breast milk to the baby? In fact, the answer is almost never. Almost never. All right, and it's only for very, very rare situation. For example, baby's medical condition or maternal drug abuse. If the mother is a drug addict, or where there's a virus infection like Ebola virus. Now, even with the COVID-19, WHO has recommended that mommy continue to breastfeed, even with the COVID-19. Now, the COVID-19 vaccination, the one that I read, all right, is that even after the vaccination, mommy is encouraged to continue to breastfeed, not to throw away your breast milk. You don't have to do that. All right, this is recommendation from WHO, and I hope that mommies who are listening, who are wondering whether you should take the vaccine or not, I cannot decide that for you. You have to make your own decision based on your discussion with your own doctor, with your own medical professional. But the thing is, WHO says that if you take the vaccine, you can and you should continue to breastfeed. Okay? The next one. What if a mother was told to temporarily stop breastfeeding? A lot of times, unfortunately, I have great respect to all my doctor friends, especially. They work very hard. They are very smart people. They have a lot of information and knowledge. They study a lot. But sometimes, unfortunately, they may not be very well versed with certain medication, whether it affects breastfeeding or not. And then they erroneously, all right, they wrongly tell the mother to stop breastfeeding, or they tell the mother to pump and throw away the breast milk, which is very painful for a lot of mothers. So they were told to temporarily stop direct latching. But temporary, after you get better or after the baby gets better, you can continue to breastfeed, right? So the thing that mommy should do is you have to protect your milk supply and your production. And how do you do that? How do you protect your milk supply and your production? You do that by hand expressing or by pumping very regularly, as often as your baby would feed. So usually last time you would direct latch your baby 10 times a day. If you're asked to temporarily stop, you have to pump 10 to 12 times a day, because when you pump, you have to actually pump a little bit more than the baby direct latch, because the baby actually direct latches better than the pump. So remember, continue to protect your milk supply and your milk production by hand expressing or pumping. But a lot of times you don't have to stop breastfeeding. You don't have to stop or throw away your milk. Check www.elactancia.org. All right, I told you to check your medication there. All right, hope that helps. Now, what's the most common illnesses? What's the thing that most mothers and babies suffer from? I really here not in the position to talk about very, very serious illnesses. I'm not here to talk about life-threatening illnesses that very, very few of us, I hope, will experience. But yes, children do get sick. Yes, mothers do get sick. But what is the sickness that is the most common for all of us? It is the common flu, isn't it? The common cold. Sorry, not. It's the common cold, right? The baby hachu, or the mommy, sneezing all the way, watery eyes, allergies, baby's nose leaking all the time, baby coughing, yes, or mommy coughing too, daddy coughing too, or the entire family, one person gets sick, the whole family gets sick, it's possible. But there are many, many times the whole family gets sick, baby don't get sick. Why? Because of breast milk, because of the wonderful healing properties of breast milk, the wonderful protective properties of breast milk. And you notice that babies don't get sick, only the parents, or mommy and daddy and the grandparents get sick, and also maybe older children who do get sick as well. So there is a difference between the common cold and flu. Because sometimes you say, oh, my baby got the flu. Or my baby has a running nose, oh, he got the flu. So when we use the word flu, wrongly most of the time, and we need to actually understand what's the difference between a cold and a flu. All right, a cold is usually caused by the rhinovirus, rhinovirus, and a flu is usually caused by the influenza viruses. So when it comes to a cold, it's caused by almost more than 200 viruses, and there's no vaccination. It's too many viruses to be vaccinated against. Just too many, and when your baby or yourself have a cold, it's usually the symptoms are quite mild, all right, and it's usually a gradual process. Like maybe you feel a bit itchy throat, and then you start sneezing, then maybe you feel you want to cough, and usually you may not have a fever even, or if you have a fever, it's a low-grade fever. You feel tired maybe. But you don't feel too bad, you're just like, and then maybe you feel a little bit headache, and that's usually most of it, that's it. But when you have a flu is a more serious illness. Flu, usually you get a fever and sometimes a high fever. You may get rashes on your body. You may get your bone is aching, your whole body aching, and you're extremely tired. You feel like you want to die. It's like, oh my God, and usually you will have chills as well, chills and aches, and you may have a loss of appetite. You don't do anything except sleep. So and between the cold and the flu, there's some symptoms that are almost similar. They're almost similar, but the severity is flu is a lot more severe, a lot more difficult to bear than the common cold. Okay, and the common cold, there's no vaccines, but for flu, there are vaccines available. So there's a difference between the cold and the flu. So whenever your baby has a flu or a cold, or whenever you have a flu or a cold, you as an adult, you know what to do for yourself, because you have gone through it. But now you have a newborn baby, or you have a toddler. Your baby never gets sick, and suddenly now as a toddler, she's getting into everything, or she's going to play school, or you may have stopped breastfeeding, and then you realize that your toddler gets sick more often. So what are the do's and the don'ts? So let me start with the don'ts. No antibiotics. Surprise? Because the common cold is caused by a virus. Viruses do not respond to antibiotics. And a lot of time you go to see the doctor give you antibiotics, over-prescribed antibiotics. Sometimes doctor prescribe the antibiotics to prevent a secondary infection. So before you give the antibiotics to your baby upon doctor's prescription, because the next one is no medication unless it's doctor's prescription, you have to actually ask, is there a secondary infection that's caused by a bacteria? Because antibiotics is for bacteria, but sometimes the doctor may prescribe antiviral medication. So it's okay, and a lot of doctors really do not mind you asking more questions. Is this an antibiotic? Is this an antiviral? Is it really necessary? Especially for babies who are below 2 years old, you really, really do not want to start them on medication too early. Another thing is the vapor rub. There's a lot the vapor rub that you may put on the chest or on the soles of the feet. But anything that contains camphor, camphor, is toxic. You have to be careful of it. Please read the ingredient properly. Do go for more natural remedies, all right? And there are so many natural remedies. You can just do a Google search and you'll be able to find it, And please do not put your baby to sleep on the stomach, because your baby is maybe having sneezing smells and coughing. And so if you put her on the stomach, she may not be able to cough it out. Coughing is good, because when you cough, you expel phlegm, and then they expel all the, it traps viruses, it traps the bacteria and the germs, and then it expel it out of your body. So she may not be able to cough it out. So it's do not put your baby to sleep on their stomach. And also because the airways is already blocked, they got a runny nose, they got a blocked nose, and then they may not be able to breathe well enough if they're on their stomach. Yeah, so that's the basic guideline. Now, what do? Plenty of fluids, especially breast milk, especially breast milk. I know if you are breastfeeding, continue to breastfeed. It's so easy, so wonderful. I have a friend whose child is sick, and I asked, "Do you take her to see the doctor?" I said, "No need, because I'm breastfeeding. Continue to breastfeed." And it's so easy. Baby cry, baby can't breathe, baby can't eat, refuse to eat because of loss of appetite. Just put the baby to the breast, and the baby breastfeed. Yeah. So this is something that I want to recommend. Not sure whether you can accept or not. A lot of you who are no longer breastfeeding, when your baby gets sick, I don't know, maybe you can ask for donated breast milk from your friends, just like a medicine, because there's no medicine for your baby. Breast milk to be able to have the baby. It's something recommended, but it's up to you to accept it. It's just my opinion, okay? The next thing is you should clear your baby's nasal passages with saline spray or snot sucker, what you can see on the screen, a nasal saline spray, and to suck out the snot that is blocking your baby's airways. Yeah, and the next one is help your baby to sleep by elevating the baby's head. All right, as what you can see on the screen. Please make sure that it's safe. Don't put too many pillows near your baby. So what I like is actually putting something underneath the mattress so that the mattress is level up, elevated up. And then you know that your babies put everything in the mouth, right? Yeah, especially grown children, even toddlers put things in their mouth. So make sure that you clean the toys and the pacifiers or bottles or whatever you have that goes into baby's mouth very, very often. If you're using a handkerchief, make sure that you, as long as you wipe the baby's nose or cough into the handkerchief, please put it into the washing machine and use a clean handkerchief. That's very, very important. And the next one is wash your hands often. Whose hands? The caregiver and also your baby's hands. All right, they need to wash their hands as well, children, babies. And I know that a lot of you use handkerchief just to wipe the hand. It's not good enough. In fact, it's not recommended. You need to wash hands under running water with soap. Yeah, both the caregiver and also baby. Okay, have to need their hands to be washed. And then the next one is highly recommended that you get a good quality air purifier and a cool mist humidifier, cool wire. Very important to get this, yeah, because why is humidified air so important? Not only just humidified air, but purified air, yeah, because the drying of the mucous membranes in our nose and our bronchi, yeah, it inhibits our body's natural defense mechanism, yeah, against airborne pollutants. And there's a lot of pollutants in the air. And when you're sick, do you realize when you're sick, you somehow feel that the air is heavier than usual? It's like you cannot breathe, and then you can feel it, yeah. So this leaves us very vulnerable. The air that's very dry, it leaves us very vulnerable to infections from airborne germs, and viruses that cause the flu and common cold. Yes, so that's why we need to humidify the air. And a lot of people say that Malaysia is quite humid already. Yes and no, because most of the time, if Malaysia is very humid, what do? You get out of the open space and you go into your room. And your room, usually you switch on the aircon. And when you switch on the aircon, what happens? It dries up the environment. And that's why you get a cool, nice feeling, right? So the aircon is one of the factors of drying up the air in your room. So, and because of that, it's susceptible. You get more susceptible to getting an infection as well. The next one is when you have sore eyes or you have red, dry eyes. Yeah, it's actually a symptom of long exposure to a dry atmosphere, usually an aircon room again. And for our precious baby, a lot of us, we switch on the aircon for them a lot of time, right? A lot of Chinese also think, oh, don't kena the angin, no, don't let the wind blow at you or you and your baby. But aircon is fine. That's what they say, right? But then they don't realize that the aircon actually dries up the environment, and it dries up your skin, upper epidermal layer, and then it gets exposed, and it will lead to itchiness. When your skin is dry, you scratch your face, your neck, especially the neck area when there's sweat, and then it dries out, and then you feel very itchy because it's cracking, and it leads to a lot of dermatological issues as well. Yeah. So there are thousands of research from universities, from research centers that says that proper humidified room reduces the transmission of bacteria and virus by a few 100%. Wow, a few 100%, just when you have a humidified room, cool mist, yeah? And humidification helps with eczema, because dry air dries up your skin. So it helps with the eczema, it helps with insomnia, it helps with dry skin, dry eye syndrome, and it helps with drying skin, it helps with the nose, it helps with so many different things, which I will share with you again, okay? Now, you also know without air, you're dead. If you can't breathe, you're dead, right? And without air, if you don't breathe, you don't get enough oxygen for 3 minutes, let's say, you become brain dead. So basically, oxygen, air, good air is healthy air, is actually food for our brain. And how often does a baby breathe? Baby breathes about 65,000 times a day, because baby breathing pattern is a lot faster than adults. Yeah, children about 50,000 times a day, and an adult breathes about 23,000 times a day. And we are breathing in what? Most of us are staying indoors, especially during the MCO period, isn't it? And even if you go outdoors, what are you breathing? Okay, indoor we are breathing furniture dust. Yeah, the home, the fan that is moving, rotating air around your house. Then if you have pets, you'll be breathing in the pet's dander, the pet's shattered skin that's microscopic, that you don't really see, or that fur, and even our own skin, yeah, which is shedding every single seconds, and it becomes dust, and is circulated around the room, and we are actually breathing in all that. And it's shown that indoor air pollution is 5 to 10 times worse than outdoor. That's why a lot of us are indoor air, the quality is a lot less than outdoor. That's why during MCO time, those of us who are confined to our homes, we go a little bit crazy. Why? Because we're not getting enough oxygen. But when we go out with the fresh air, we feel so alive, so good, because we are breathing in a lot more good oxygen. Yeah. So I'd like to actually share this with you. Yeah, share this this good product. This Facebook Live is sponsored by Venta Air Washer, and we have a message.
What is Venta Air Washer? A 3-in-1 air purifier made in Germany that sanitizes, purifies, and humidifies your indoor air. How it works. Harmful air particles are sucked in by powerful vortex suction and gets trapped by the rotating discs that subsequently send these particles to be washed by the disinfected water. Only clean and purified air are released back into the air. Its feature: active air sanitization system. It sanitizes, purifies, and humidifies the air, giving you 24/7 protection and clean, fresh air. Lab tested to eliminate 99.99% of airborne viruses and bacteria. Large area of protection of up to 800 square feet at an extremely low energy consumption rate. Clinically proven to eliminate airborne particles, harmful pathogens, airborne bacteria. Goodbye, dust allergens, pet fur, odor, organic particles. Hello, wellness, clean air, quality air, peaceful sleep, relaxation, relieves sinus, asthma, skin allergy, dry and itchy throat, insomnia. Where can it be used? Home, office, clinic, classroom, meeting halls. And lastly, why Venta Air Washer? It is eco-friendly, 100% made in Germany, sustainable, zero filters, extremely low energy consumption, and it lasts for a lifetime. Venta Air Washer, beyond air purifier.
If you have enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe and share it with all your friends. If you would like to sponsor and support my work to help more families, you can do so through Patreon. My Patreon link is as listed in the description below. Thank you so much. Have a great day.